Transport sector needs stronger framework. This is according to Malku Afajuno, the executive head of brand and marketing, Stanbic Bank, Ghana. Baba Jamal wins Ayawaso East constituency seats. So from His Excellency Baba Jamal to Baba Jamal, Honorable MP for Ayawaso East.
It was His Excellency, now His Honorable.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever you do, each is part of his title. And 1,201 public workers cleared for recruitment. And if you go to the back page of the Daily Graphic, 9 arrested at Tema Port over undeclared tramadol seizure. And the sad story we read yesterday is also on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Mother, 3 children die in abandoned Galamsey pits.
Sad one. The news center this morning, MTN pays 10.5 billion Ghana cedis in taxes in 2025, and that's a reflection of its role in national economic resilience. Government to resume domestic bond borrowing. Minority is cocoa farmers' trusted ally upon Nkrumah. Mahama urges US, Israel, and Iran to end war. And 541 recruitment appointments and promotions revoked. That's according to the government. And like I talked about, the question that was sent to me this morning. So how do people know that their appointments have been revoked or upheld?
Now let's go to the Ghanaian points. Ghana takes steps to secure enough fuel supply amid Middle East tensions. Afenyomakin referred to Parliament's Privileges Committee over recruitment allegations. Government revokes 541 post-election appointments after a review committee findings, and upon Nkrumah pushes no plan, no cash bill to align budget with national development plan and fiscal discipline. Those are stories from the Ghanaian Points. Now, the big story on the Ghanaian Points is the Ghana taking steps to secure enough fuel supply amid the Middle East tensions. Kofi, you know, we project that we are going to consume about 6 billion liters of the various petroleum products this year, right? Now, if you are consuming about 6 billion liters, for example, what is our storage capacity, strategic storage capacity in the country? How much can we hold for what period? The IEA standard says 90 days. ECOWAS standard says 60 days. So Ghana, how much strategic stocks do we have? And what is our storage capacity to enable us store enough should these things continue to happen?
Okay. The daily guide for this morning says NPP is for all, not elitist. That's according to Alexander Afenyo Markin. Agrada is back from prison, is also here. First Lady, others mourn with Sami Jemfi during the 1-week observance of the death of his father-in-law.
Now, if you go to the Accra Times, Mahama walks the talk, turns Ghana into construction sites with 73 projects across all 16 regions. Bagbin holds Speakers Breakfast Forum today, and government boosts tourism and creative arts with 40 million Ghana cedis in funding and infrastructure drive. And strengthening Ghana Burkina Faso language education. Unimac IL students proposal to education ministry. So they want Ghana and Burkina Faso, we need to strengthen our communication in languages. And Kokobot Deputy CEO rubbishes Otafo MP's claims. Charlie, but this boost to tourism and creative arts, 40 million Ghana cedis. 40 million Ghana cedis for tourism and creative arts.
Well, look at to do what specifically?
For a sector which is supposed to be the 3rd highest earner, right?
Well, what is it supposed to do specifically? We'll
get into
it. We'll get into it later. Which means we can get to the news, the new finder. And the new finder says Afrexim Bank projects 9.9% inflation for Ghana in 2026. Build reserves before returning to international markets. Deloitte advisor urges government. And fiscal discipline crucial as DDEP bond restrictions expire, according to an analyst. And the custodian this morning says NPP will continue to fight for cocoa farmers upon Nkrumah, and minority storms farms to support cocoa farmers. The big one here says best record clear choice. Apenyo marking assets center-right NPP tradition outperformed rival traditions in Ghana. And Mahama calls for cessation of US, Israel, Iran conflict. Gideon Boako to sponsor eye surgery for 35 constituents. And NDC stalwarts mourn with Sami Jemfi. Okay, which means we can bring you the online news review.
So we'll go to Major Online. Now, Baba Jamal is promising Ayawaso East revival, and he says that the reset starts now. So Ayawaso East is going to get their reset with Baba Jamal in the seat. He's won the Ayawaso East by-election, and he says that his mother's prophecy has been fulfilled. And he also says that those months in Nigeria added to his experience. And more from my Joy Online: no Ghanaian casualties as government activates Middle East evacuation plan, according to Ablakwa. Yesterday in the evening, he had meetings with the ambassadors and the high commissioners in the area, and they've discussed how to help Ghanaians in the space, those in transit, those working there, those who are caught in the conflicts. He says that no Ghanaian will be left unattended to. Now, NPA halts discounted fuel pricing by OMCs effective March 16. NPA halts discounted fuel pricing by OMCs effective March 16. So now the OMCs cannot give us discounts.
You know, the previous guidelines said beyond the price floor, you could in certain stations go below it.
Okay.
You could give discounts, so you could then give discounts. You inform and do that. But I think the NPA is halting that. We'll get into the details of that story.
But why can't businesses give their customers discounts? Kofi, why can't businesses give their customers discounts? Don't you give your customers discount when they buy meat?
You know what I was going to say to you? I was going to tell you that we'll be Sanyan Sasempa, but we said the wrong person.
Anyway, let me give you more stories from my Joy Online. Building gold reserves, losing hospitals. Finance professor flags 1% GDP costs, and so those are some stories.
So the story, not to catch you, but the story talks about the fact that the companies will no longer be permitted to apply selective discount at specific retail outlets across the country. They were contending. Authorities indicated that the changes are intended to strengthen the existing framework and ensure compliance with the pricing formula regulations and enhance monitoring and enforcement. According to the NPA, the revision is aimed at sustaining the petroleum downstream sector through improved transparency and adherence to established rules. Because look, some of them actually make these announcements, and it's for selected stations. So you get there, you get to. So there was the last time I went to one of this thing, and when I got there, I think I went to a Gold station, and I said, but you Gold is selling, so boss, and you see. So there should be uniformity, and I think we'd all agree with the NPA. There should be uniformity. If you want to do that across board.
Okay, you can't do it at certain. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Let's get into
if you go to citynewsroom.com, Middle East crisis, we won't increase prices. Abosi Okai spare parts dealers. Why do they buy their spare parts from Middle East?
Ask again.
Do they? Anyway, more from Middle East crisis. No Ghanaian has been killed or injured. This is Ablakwa. Kwacho Fosu. 1.5 billion Ghana cedis in assets frozen under oral, and Baba Jamal wins Ayawaso East by elections. Now there is also another sad story here. Ashanti region, 16 feared dead in ambulance Ford collision at Potri Chrome, and teacher and farmer died in separate suspected suicides in the central region. Those are stories from the online platform.
Okay, so let's get into the details. And one here, Apenyo Marking says NPP is for all, not elitist. So the minority leader, Alexander Apenyo Marking, has rejected claims that the NPP is an elitist political tradition, stressing that the party's ideology and governance record reflect a consistent commitment to empowering ordinary Ghanaians through a property-owning democracy. He was speaking at a lecture organized by the Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy in Accra last Monday on the theme "The Center-Right Impact on the Political Landscape." He said the Dankwa Dombo Buzia tradition was born out of the struggle for the rights of ordinary citizens rather than the protection of the privileged in society.
Let me give you the creative arts and tourism story, since we are in the Ghana month, and those are key elements of our Ghanaianness.
Sure.
Government boosts tourism and creative arts with 40 million Ghana cedi funding and infrastructure drive. The story says the government has announced renewed investment in Ghana's tourism and creative arts sectors, describing them as critical pillars for economic transformation and job creation in the era of artificial intelligence. Delivering the State of the Nation address, the president highlighted the growing global influence of Ghanaian creatives, particularly those leveraging new media platforms to project the country's image beyond the reach of traditional media outlets. And in line with this, the president noted that Ghana's reputation as a preferred tourist destination continues to grow, driven by its rich history. And to strengthen the sector, the government has allocated 20 million Ghana cedis to the film industry and an additional 20 million Ghana cedis to support the broader creative arts sector. And he says that he will be the personal ambassador for the tourism and creative arts sector. And in line with new national meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions and creative event strategy, the government will refurbish the Accra International Conference Center to restore its status as the country's premier venue for national conferences and events.